Hi everyone, this is FQ Mom Rose Fresh Fausto, and today I'm at the Harvard Business School, or should I say Harvard? I'm not sure. And I'm very lucky to be able to squeeze in this interview with our professor, the head of the what do you call that? Negotiation Organizations and Market here at the Harvard Business School. Professor Francesca Gino. Say hi.
Hi everyone.
Yes. So what we're doing right now, this is very interesting. We're taking up a behavioral economics course, and tell us, how did you get into this? I know that you initially wanted to be an architect.
That's exactly right. It was a little bit by chance, really. So I started my program in business economics when I was back in Italy, and then I came to the US, and I really started taking classes on decision making, and I thought that the human mind was pretty fascinating, and so I decided to keep on exploring the question of why is it that often we don't make decisions that are good for us or that are good for others,
even if we know fully well what we're supposed to
exactly do. There are all sorts of good intentions, and yet we often don't seem to follow through.
Is there any particular study that really started you on with your behavioral economics journey?
I think he was really taking Max Bezelman class. At the time, he was teaching a class that I teach now to doctoral students called Approaches to Decision Making. And he was hearing his idea, his experience that just got me really interested in the field.
So with all the many studies that you've done and all the you've been exposed to, can you share with us the top 3 nudges you'd like to maybe recommend when it comes to saving and investing?
There is really one big one, or maybe 2. I'll talk about 2 that to me are particularly important, easy to do, and they seem to be moving behavior in ways that are surprising, and they're surprisingly positive. One is the idea of default. I am struck by all situations we go through in life, and financial decision making is one of them, where we just go with the status quo, with whatever option is in front of our eyes, rather than thinking about whether we can opt into something that is different and better. And so there is a lot of research that has been done in the United States that I think can be translated across the globe about making sure that, for example, employees are defaulted into retirement plans that are best on average for everyone. And what the research has shown quite convincingly is that these plans are incredibly successful. They help people save more for their retirement. And so thinking about a world where we are all getting the benefit of longer life, saving for retirement seems to be a particularly important issue, and so because we don't have an easy time to think of ourselves in 20 or 30 years from now, and so I think that the research on default has been quite remarkable. And the other one is allowing people to make commitments, so that they can easily stick to their plans, end up with more money later on, just because they're making small commitments now. So I'll have to track it down, but I actually believe that there is a study done in the Philippines where people were committing up front to just giving a little bit of their salary per month to a certain account, and just that commitment, once you've taken it, you sort of forget. And you're just your salary to a few $100s less, and that was enough for people. Exactly. And so I think there is something simple about that gets people interested and committed to the choice that they're making, that could actually end up creating a lot of cumulative benefits.
And also, there are a lot of nudges that we can apply to parenting. In fact, I think most of the way, the way we parent is really exercising choice architecture, right?
It is. It's sometimes when I think about choices,
how many do you have?
Children, I have almost 4, but when I think about choices,
exactly,
it's right here.
But how many months are you on?
I'm due in 4 weeks.
Oh my God! And she's so agile. She just runs up and down, and you were jumping this morning.
But like one of the things that we know from
just one quick question. Are all your 4 pregnancies system 1 or system 2 initiated?
Good question to ask. I'm not sure I want to answer that.
Okay.
But there is an interesting aspect of what we know from psychology is that having the experience and feeling that you're making an active choice is important. And so with children, often is giving them options, all of which lead to something that as a parent you think is best for them. So for example, if it's you want them to eat more vegetables at dinner, you give them a few different choices of vegetables without caring too much which one they're gonna pick, but it's multiple choices so that they get to exert some control in a way that makes them more satisfied with the choices that they're making.
So all the choices are good for them. That's precisely how parenting should be. And that is exactly choice architecture.
Stuff to do at times.
One more thing. Would you like to share with us any of your, just one childhood money memory that you think affects the way you relate with money the way you do right now?
So I grew up in a family where my dad lost his dad when he was 11. And at the time he actually had a sister who was just a couple of years younger, and then another one who was just a baby. And so I think he saw his mom really struggle, and for him being the oldest, being responsible to help, which also meant for him being conscious about the choices that he was making in terms of money and supporting himself throughout education. And when I think about the way I grew up, he has a very respectable job. He used to be a doctor, so in a sense of the jobs that you can do, probably a good salary. But I've always grown up in a family where he was careful about saving and making sure that we were making reasonable choices about our expenditures. And so I think that stayed with me about the importance of being thoughtful about the financial choices that we're making, and the importance of not only thinking about today, but thinking about tomorrow and the goals that you want to have for yourself. So I think that those are dynamics that I now see myself use or rely upon when I think about financial decision making for our family.
There was a discussion about the language having to do with the way you also view yourself. In the she is an Italian.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, do you know that in the Philippines we are big fans? We love Italian food, and we love pizza, spaghetti. As a matter of fact, even McDonald's serves spaghetti in the Philippines.
That's too funny. I didn't know that.
Anyway, so what was I saying? In your language, the future self and the present self, there was this discussion about
the research by Keith Chan. That's interesting.
Yes. How about in the Italian language?
So it's I actually think that we use both really. It's an interesting question to think about whether as a population we are more as compared to the United States, we are more conscious of saving. I don't know if there is data aggregated at the population level, but what it is interesting is that we are definitely a society as compared to the United States. I think this would be supported by data that is thinking in less convenient way. And so I think that affects the type of choices that you're making. So
you meaning to say sacrifices are okay?
No, thinking about the fact that everything that happens in society, like in the United States, is designed around convenience. So grocery stores are open 24 hours a day. That's not that uncommon. In Italy, if you want to go to a grocery store, usually you have certain hours within the day. Or when you buy things, so for example, purchases are considered big purchases that you're making for life. So for example, I my parents still live in the house where I was born and grew up. And I think that that's less frequent here in the United States in a way that makes you think more. It just makes you think differently about the choices that you're making and access to purchasing behavior and potential savings. So that, again, it might also be connected to my own way of growing up, but definitely influenced the way I've been thinking about choices. And I sometimes, being married to an American, see that there are differences in the way we come down to it, where for me, there is a much more reflection driven by let's think through our needs long term and our family.
To activate.
Right. Which might also be due to the fact that I do this type of research. I think it becomes more common to me.
But that doesn't exempt you, right? From being irrational.
No, absolutely. I have lots of examples where I've done that, but there is definitely much more. I think there is more pause.
Yes.
We were having a lot of discussion this week about whether the fact that we know and we have knowledge about these different biases, whether that makes you a better decision maker. I can't say that, but what I can say is that I tend to pause and reflect more often.
Okay. And now let's end. She has two very interesting books. The first one is Sidetrack. Tell us about it briefly.
So this was a book that I wrote back in 2013 to try to understand why is it that our decisions get derailed. I was struck by the fact that often we have these amazing, beautiful plans and then we end up with outcomes that are very different. And so what are the forces that derail us?
And then, as you said, your favorite.
My favorite so far, exactly. Rebel Talent. This was a book inspired by looking at a lot of businesses, leaders, employees, and people in their lives just sticking to the status quo and trying to understand whether the people are pushing the boundaries and really producing something positive for themselves, for society, for their organizations. What can we learn from them?
Yeah, I took the Rebel test. I'm a traveler.
You're a traveler. That's very good. Well, I haven't, since I was the one actually writing the test and creating the test, I feel like it's cheating if I take the test myself.
Okay. So parting words for our viewers, Francesca?
I read the books,
yes, of course.
but think more carefully about the interesting aspects of our human nature.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Francesca.
Such a pleasure.
This has been a wonderful chat. And with that, let's meet all our viewers. Cheers to high FQ.